Hi, my name's JoAnne. I'm 53 and I was diagnosed with breast cancer in March, no, not March, May of last year during the pandemic. I found my lump purely by accident. It was at the top of my left breast, and I think I must have brushed some crumbs away one morning and found a lump. Ignored it for a little bit because I thought, well, we're in the middle of a pandemic. My kids are at home. My daughter's A-levels are about to be cancelled. Thought it was stress related, so left it. I was probably pre-menopausal as well, so I thought, lumpy boobs, maybe. I left it for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and I then started to get a pain right in that lump as well. And I thought, that's not right. But again, put it down to the stress of the pandemic, left it for probably another week. And then the pain came back. I thought, okay, this isn't right. So I phoned my GP, who was amazing. And she said to me, I really don't like the sound of that. I need you to go and see someone. Luckily, I have private health insurance. So by 6:30 that night, I was sitting in front of the breast surgeon and I had a mammogram and they found something. And then I had an ultrasound followed by a biopsy, waited a week and to go back and be told that I had breast cancer. And I was on my own, no family with me, no friends, nothing. We were 2 months in. Scheduled to have the lump taken out probably around about, I think I had the operation in July. And I went away and the lump was sent to America for an oncotype test, where I believe they look at 21 genomics of the lump. And my score was 20. And if you score between 1 and 25, you don't usually have to have chemo. And if you score 25 to 100, you do have to have chemo. I scored 20, thought, okay, great, haven't got to have it. Saw the oncologist at the end of July, who decided that I did need to have chemo. I had 6 months of chemotherapy, 3 months of EC. So that was 4 treatments every 3 weeks, and then 12 weeks of paclitaxel. And again, actually I was lucky. I could take my dad with me to the appointment with the oncologist. And interesting that he asked me so many questions. I think the appointment was about 45 minutes, and asked me all about my life, about my work, about my family, my friends, my support network. And I thought, what are we getting to here? And I said to him, do I have to have chemo? And his view was very much that he wanted to give me the length of life that I would have had before I had breast cancer. And the only way for him to do that was for me to endure 6 months of chemo. Now, my hair, I always thought my hair was my crowning glory. My hair was, halfway down my back, straight, red, dyed red. And I was devastated at the thought of having to lose my hair. I didn't want a cold cap. I looked into it. I wanted to be in and out with my treatments. I didn't want to be there any longer than I had to be. And if you cold cap, I think it's about an hour and a half onto your treatment. And I really didn't want to do that. So I took control of it. I had my hair, my very long hair, cut into a bob. And I had 1 treatment of chemo with it like that. And about 2 weeks in, it really, no, I didn't. I had it cut again. And then it started to get very, very painful. Not the scalp, but the hair. So I had it shaved off. And then it came out a little bit more. And then I had it shaved off again. And I loved my bald head. if it hadn't have been for the winter, I probably would have gone without anything on my head. I had a wig made, barely wore it. But I positively loved my bald head. And yeah, I quite surprised myself, actually. Losing, as a woman, I think everyone thinks that losing your hair is huge. And actually, for some women, it absolutely is. But for me, it really wasn't. And it was an interesting thing to learn when you think that your hair defines who you are. Actually, for me anyway, it really didn't define who I was. My treatment was through COVID. I had to go on my own to each appointment. My friends and family were unbelievable. I never had to worry about a meal, shopping, a lift to chemo, that people would take me at 7, 8 in the morning. I'd have my chemo, I'd call them, they're just flushing it through, come pick me up. They'd pick me up, drop me home, put me to bed. It truly blew my mind as to how my friends and my family were. I have a mum and dad and my children, who actually in September, they both went back to uni. And I'm separated from my husband, but I do have a partner, and he was truly unbelievable. I hadn't known him that long when I got diagnosed, but he stood by me the whole time. He was here when I had my hair cut, every time. He used to kiss my bald head. I was very lucky. I think there's other people who may well have just walked away, but he didn't. My mum had had breast cancer twice, but luckily for her, had never needed to have chemo. And I can't imagine what it must have been like for my parents to have watched me go through what I went through. But they were incredible. My kids, thank God, were at university, so I didn't have to think about anybody else but myself. And for the people that know me, that's not an easy thing. I usually think about everybody else and not myself. So for me to positively ask for help when I needed it was a big thing. And my friends stepped up to the plate. They really did. They really, really did. There are no words for me to say as to how incredible they were. My treatment itself, I think I was very lucky, really. I had very few side effects. I think my friends might say different, but from what I remember anyway, apart from losing my hair and the odd mouth ulcer, I was never sick, thank God. I wish I'd have lost my appetite a little bit, but I didn't. And 6 months went quickly. It really did. And I had a month off before I had my radiotherapy, which was okay. Had to hold my breath to move my heart out of the way because I had cancer on my left side. But that was okay. I got to ring my bell after my treatment had finished. And my partner came with me when I did that. And yeah, that was a very moving thing, to ring the bell at the end of your treatment, because I knew this wasn't going to kill me. They had told me that, but your life goes on hold my life went on hold for nearly a year. I was, COVID tests, blood tests, chemo, COVID test, blood test, chemo. There was a routine to my week. And yeah, it was a very empowering moment when I rang my bell. I'm over a year clear now. I had my first mammogram after diagnosis just before the 27th of May, which was the day I got diagnosed. I'd had some pain in that side, and I'd rushed up to see my surgeon, and who said, well, you know what, while you're here, let's get the mammogram done, and let's just make sure everything's okay. So luckily, everything was fine. I was also very fortunate to be able to work throughout my treatment. Because of COVID, I was working from home. And that kept me going as well. I had a structure, not only with all my appointments, but with work. I had a structure to my day. However, it's taken its toll now. I'm about to take 3 months off work just to have some time for me, because I haven't. And I'm looking forward to doing what I want to do when I want to do it, rather than be constrained by checking emails or getting on staff Zoom meetings. My work were amazing. I was, again, very, very lucky. I appreciate that some people aren't as lucky as I was. But my job, I organise people's funerals for a living. And I was training to be an end-of-life doula when I got diagnosed, and that unfortunately had to go on hold, but luckily that is starting up again. I'm due to start my part 2 in November. So I'm really grabbing every opportunity now that I have to get on with my life. During my treatment, it was, as I've mentioned before, it was in the pandemic. So any alternative treatments that I wanted to have, I was limited as to what I could have, because so many people were not allowed to work. But during the times they were allowed to work, I found an amazing reflexologist just up the road from where I live. And she had treated cancer patients before, I think. So I went to see her, and I found it actually very, very beneficial. We chatted if I wanted to, and if I didn't, that was okay. Sometimes I'd, have a little sleep. Very relaxing room that she had. And we decided that it might be helpful to have a treatment the day before I had a chemo treatment due, to see if it would help with, combating the side effects. As I said before, I was very lucky that, one of the biggest side effects, I think, again, everyone's different, but I think people are always worried about sickness aspect, and you get the steroids and the anti-sickness pills and etc., which I didn't want to take, and I only took if I really, really had to. So she thought that by having reflexology the day before a chemo, that it would sort of, I suppose, open my body up more to taking the treatment, but seeing how the side effects, if they were minimalized, was there no difference? And actually I found it really, really helpful. I took the steroids to start with, and actually I then didn't bother. I didn't want, it was bad enough that I was having chemo and all that poison pumped through my body. I didn't actually want to take anything else unless I really, really had to. And I felt, for me, that the reflexology definitely enabled me to not take as much of the medication, if any of it. So I didn't. And unfortunately, again, we went into a second lockdown. So the treatments that I had with her had to stop. And I finished the rest of my chemo without any more reflexology with her, which was such a shame. But, it was one of those things. And again, whilst I could, one of the chemo nurses that I used to see was an acupuncturist as well. And again, COVID permitting, I would go and see her, once every couple of weeks. And that was primarily to help me with the hot flushes. One of the benefits of chemo is I've gone through the menopause, so every cloud has a silver lining. But the hot flushes, primarily because of chemo and possibly the menopause, were horrendous at times. And she really, really helped with the hot flushes. And also, I used to drink a lot of, you know, either hot water with mint or cold water infused with mint. She would tell me that mint cooled the body down, so I would do that. She also told me I had to walk every day. And, you know, when you're having chemo, the last thing you want to do is go out for a walk. But, you know, she would say to me, 10 minutes there, 10 minutes back, every single day. It will help you sleep. It will just make you feel better. So I have a very good friend of mine who lives in the next road to me, and she was my walking buddy, and we would go every day, and she would push me, you know, come, you know, you've done 10 minutes, let's do another 5. And then another day, we've done 15, let's do another 5. And yeah, and we'd walk up hills, and I'd sort of look at these hills and think, oh my God, I can't get up that. And she'd go, come on, up you go. And, you know, I'd have to stop. I got chemo chest. Some people get it, some people don't. I did. So just, you know, coughing, and I sounded like I smoked 30 a day, which I didn't. But she would, you know, push me. So that was all I could do during treatment. But I've been very fortunate since I finished treatment. There is a Jewish charity near where I live that offers so many different complementary therapies. And as I say, I've been very lucky to be able to take advantage of what they've offered. So I have had reflexology 2 or 3 times. I've had amazing hands-on healing. I've had an aromatherapy massage, and I've also worked with their physio in the gym. Again, one of the side effects, or the lasting side effects for me, has been I ache. My bottom part of my body, if I've been sitting for too long, I get up, I feel like I'm 90, not 53. So she's helping me with that. And yeah, I have a trainer, and again, he's amazing, and I'm in the gym with him twice a week for my physical and my mental health. You know, it's important not only to look after your physical body, but your mental health, especially when you've gone through this, is so very, very important.